G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving you my round 3 power rankings heading into round 4. So basically what I do in this, if you are new here, is I am basically going off the first 3 rounds and ranking the teams on how good they've been, so their power ranking. I'm not taking into account anything that happened last year. So for like Parramatta, they made the grand final. That doesn't matter. We start fresh in 2023, and that is why a lot of these teams will be ranked the way that they are. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of people disagreeing with me on stuff, and that's fine. All I ask is that before you dislike the video, comment down below why you disagree. Maybe I put the Storm too low, and you guys are like, hey, look, I don't agree with this. I think that's the wrong call. Let me know why. Just let me know and we can have a good old conversation about it in the comments. But we'll get started. So at 17th, the team that's been arguably the worst in the comp, West Tigers. Yet to win a game, and the games they've lost have been pretty bad. That's all I've really got to say there. Look, they finished the Bulldogs game fairly strong, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that impressive. I can't put them any higher than 17th. Next up, I've got the Knights. Yes, I know they've won one game, but it was against the Tigers. Really meant nothing. Neither team played well. I think 16th for the Knights is fair. Eels are my 15th side, and I think they will definitely come on. I think they will definitely move up my power rankings. They will not stay this low, but until they can win a game, I can't put them any higher, unfortunately. Now, they've only lost by four points to every team they've played, and the teams they've played have been quality teams. So, look, it's a bit unfair to have the Eels at 15th probably, but for me, they haven't won a game yet. I can't put them any higher. I've seen people put them below the Knights. I think that's a little bit unfair, but, they're technically not wrong. Next up, and again, it's a little bit unfair, but I'm going Melbourne Storm in 14th. Yeah, look, Melbourne haven't had Munster, which has really hurt them, but they've still got a pretty good team. Most people would expect them to beat the Titans and the Bulldogs, but they couldn't get it done. They beat the Eels in round 1, but that was with Munster there. I think Munster makes that much of a difference. So for me, Storm are 14th. I can't put them any higher. If you guys do, let me know why, but I honestly can't. Next up, I've got the Canberra Raiders. Now, again, they beat the Sharks. They looked good last week. They didn't look great against the Dolphins. They lost that one. And the first half against the Cowboys was horrible, but the second half was pretty good. So it's hard to gauge how they're going. If they can get a good win against the Knights this weekend, then they will definitely move up the power rankings. But, it's I can't rank them any higher based on what I've seen so far this year. Next up, Cowboys. Apart from their 1-point win against the Raiders, they've been pretty bad this year. Other than that, they've lost both their games. I reckon they lose to the Titans this week. They've been really disappointing. The Warriors played the Cowboys up at North Queensland the other day, and the Warriors flogged them. The Warriors outplayed the Cowboys, and we shouldn't be saying that in 2023. The Cowboys made it to a prelim, and now they're struggling. They honestly are, and I honestly think the Titans can beat them. I really do. All right, before I get too much hate from Cowboys fans, because I know you will, and go back and look at some of the other people's power rankings, because I've actually got them lower. So don't come at me with all this rubbish. You guys are in a shit spot at the moment. I understand, but I can't put you higher. I honestly can't. Speaking of another team that I'd love to put higher, but I can't, I'm putting the Rabbitohs at 11th. And look, for me, the Rabbitohs aren't playing bad at all. Defensively, we're one of the better teams in the comp. We honestly are. We're a really good defensive team. We've been good in attack. We just keep dropping the ball. I'm pretty sure we are in the top 5 for balls dropped. For errors, I should say, not balls dropped. I'm just going to check this while I have a mini. So, stats. If we go down to clubs, I think we're in the top 5 for negative stats. Errors with third. Tigers 46, Eels 41, Rabbitohs 40. Like, we fix that, we are easily a top 8 team, easily. But there's a lot to fix. We've got to work on that. Another team that I think has a lot to fix is the Dragons. The coach has already been talked about getting sacked after they've started the season off relatively well, getting a good win over the Titans in round 2, and then competing with the Broncos for 70 minutes and then falling off. Like, that was a terrible loss for the Dragons. They had that game. They should have won it. But Broncos, to their credit, outplayed them in that last 10 minutes. Broncos were outstanding, like brilliant in that last 10 minutes. They were so good, and they definitely deserve that win. All right, so next up, I'm going the Sharks. Now, I would like to put the Sharks behind the Rabbitohs, but with those areas, I just can't. The Sharks haven't been great at all either. They lost to us in round 1. They then beat, I can't remember who they beat in round 2. Then they lost to the Raiders. For the life of me, I can't remember who they beat in round 2. Now I need to check that because that's going to annoy me. Round 2, the Sharks beat the Eels. My apologies. Beat the Eels in round 2, and then came back and lost to the Raiders. So I can't put them any higher. You could argue that they're below the Rabbitohs. Look, that's entirely up to you. I don't feel like I'm biased putting the Rabbitohs at 11th because they have played better than every team underneath them. But, and I'd probably say that they probably should be just above St. George. But I'm going to leave the Rabbitohs at 11th. They might jump up to 4th next week if they get a good win over Manly. But yeah, we're on to the top 8 now. So we've done the bottom 9. We're on to the top 8. Starting at 8th spot, I am putting the Roosters. They were disappointing in round 1. They were disappointing in round 2, in my opinion, as well. They weren't good against the Warriors. Played quite well against us. We let them off the hook with a lot of errors. We honestly did. So, look, they're obviously above these other teams. They've got 2 wins. They're looking good now. They're on the right track. But, you know, they've had injuries as well. So I think 8th spot's fine. Next up, we've got... I'm going the Bulldogs at 7th. Look, Bulldogs beat the Tigers last week. Not convincing, but still a win. They flogged Storm the week before, and Storm still had a lot of their stars there. So, you know, you can't say that was a nothing win. They played their heart out, the Dogs there. They really did. Round 1, you can pretty much forget about now. I think the Bulldogs are past that, so I'm pretty happy to lock them into that 7th spot. I think they will be a tougher team to beat this year. I really do. In number 6, I've got the Titans. Shout out to BKR, man. I don't know a more passionate Titans fan than Blaze, man. Honestly, such a good guy too. Like, I've got to put the Titans at 6th. They could potentially be higher. I just think these 5 teams have had a better start to the season than the Titans have. The round 1 win was really good for the Titans. They didn't back it up with the Dragons the next week. They weren't flash in that game. But then they beat the Storm, and in a good win too. Like, they should be proud of that. The Titans should be proud of that. So 6th spot seems fair to me. In 5th spot, I've got the Warriors. Man, I've disrespected the Warriors too much this year. They deserve to be in that 5th spot. You know, they're going to be a tough team to beat, especially at home. So I've got them beating the Bulldogs this weekend. I think they're going to be in for a great game. Warriors are the 5th spot for me. Finally, we've got the top 4 now. So at 4th, I've got the Panthers. Yes, I know. You know, they've done is they've lost a 1-point game to the Broncos. They bounced back with a good win, not last week, week before, and they had the bye. They're looking good. They are looking good. I can't deny that. The Broncos were good, man. The Broncos were good in round 1. The Panthers were outplayed by a better team. They honestly were. And Panthers looked good the week before last, and then obviously had the bye last week. So, yeah, look, man, I'm happy to keep the Panthers at 4th. I think that's a fair pick there. 3rd for me is Manly. Manly are looking good this year. They are undefeated after beating the Bulldogs in round 1. Going to beat Parramatta last week. and then obviously they had the bye in round 2. So really good start to the year for Manly. You know, they should be very proud of how they've started the season. They're looking really good, man. They're looking really good. And as a Rabbitohs fan, I'm very nervous. All right, number 2, the Dolphins. Never thought I'd say this. I never thought I would have the Dolphins at number 2 on my power ranking at all this year, but here they are. Undefeated so far. They've looked really good. Outplayed the Roosters easily in round 1. Round 2, they beat the Raiders, which isn't an easy task, but they did a good job there. And then round 3, they got the win there over the oh my god, having a shocker with remembering stuff. Dolphins beat the Knights. My apologies. Good win too over the Knights. I think it was 36-20. So shout out to the Dolphins, man. They're playing their hearts out this year, and it's going to be a cracker game there Friday night. Can't wait to watch it. Finally, number 1, Broncos. Best team so far this year. They have looked so good in defense and offense. They've been amazing. Man, I tell you what, they're a top 4 team this year, and you can't tell me differently. And as a lot of you guys know, I'm not a big Broncos fan. I definitely underestimated the Broncos coming into this season. I'll put my hand up and admit that, 100%. I underestimated the Broncos. I underestimated the Dolphins. However, I think the Dolphins will fall off a bit later in the season, whereas I think the Broncos will lock in a top 4 spot this year. I am almost certain that we will see the Broncos in the top 4. But they are my power rankings, guys. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I know I'm going to get some fans out there that say I'm a drongo and don't know what I'm talking about. But you know what? That's your opinion. This is mine. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps the growth of the channel. I think we're about 35 subs away from 4,000, which is crazy to me. So thank you guys so much. And as always, my friends, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.